Good day, student. You're welcome to mathematics class. Our topic for consideration today is Pythagoras rule or theory. We said rule are laid down procedure and the word in order to solve any problem. As a mathematical term, theory is a mathematical preposition, not self-evidence, but a proof of facts by a group of educationists or mathematicians in order to solve mathematical problems. Then under this, we have the explanation of Pythagoras theory. In any right angle triangle, the longest side is called the hypotenuse. That if you have any right angle triangle, below look at an example of what? Right angle triangle. That the longest side is what called the hypotenuse, and look at the longest side. This one is the what? The hypotenuse. So this one is the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is opposite the right angle. That is angle 90. And look at the hypotenuse side is opposite the right angle. The right angle is here. So the hypotenuse side is opposite the right angle. The other two sides contain angle 90. Now you discover that if this angle is 90 degrees, then the remaining two is sum up to what? 90. That is why they say the other two sides contain what? Angle 90. So they are called what? The side adjacent to the right angle. So this one is adjacent to the right angle, and where is the right angle? Look at it. It's adjacent to the right angle, and this one is also adjacent to the right angle. Now, here we said small letters are usually used to represent the sides of a triangle, while the capital letters are used to represent what? Angles. On this diagram, as you can see, you discover that small letters are used to represent the side. Look at the angle A here. The side is this one, which is represented by small a. Look at angle B. The side is opposite to angle B, represented by small b. And look at angle C, which is the right angle and the hypotenuse, represented by small c. Now, having looked at this explanation, now let's look at what this Pythagoras theorem is all about. The Pythagoras theorem states that any right angle triangle, the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the square of other two sides. So you say that if you have any right angle triangle, the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum, by the sum, the square of the other two, which means the other adjacent angle. That when you have the square, it's up to sum up to what? The other side. And in most cases, sometimes students seem to confuse between the right angle. If you have something like this, it's also a right angle, because anyway the horizontal and the vertical line meet form what? The right angle. So you discover that anyway vertical and horizontal line meet form right angles, and it's always represented by this sign, horizontal and vertical, and it implies it is angle what? 90 degrees. So along the line you discover that in some cases you will see they will not write this 90. I only introduced this 90 because this is the first time, so that you should know that the moment you have something like this, we mean that it is angle 90. Because for us to come and write 90 here again, it will become mathematical tautology. So take note of this. Now, in addition to the proof of this now, you can be able to do this on your own. Get your rule, measure 3 centimeters as one of the adjacent, draw it. Measure another one, 4 centimeters, draw it, and you can also use your pair of compass as you normally do what construction and join it to obtain the other side. And if you do it exactly, discover that it will give you 5 centimeters. Now, going by this rule now, you want to check. When you measure this one 3 centimeters, measure the other one 3 centimeters. And you discover that here you have a square. And you all know that for us to find the area of a square, it's possible you can find the area without using the formula. Since it is 3 centimeters, you divide the 3 centimeters in 1 centimeter each. Then you count the box in the given shape of the square, and it will give you what? 9 centimeters square. That is, when you count the boxes, you will discover that you have 9 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You do same to this. When you count it, you discover that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now, we say that the sum of the other 2 sides will give us what? The hypotenuse. Implies if you add this one and this one, it can also give you this. So let's count and see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Now we are saying this one is equal to this. Okay, let's count this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. For this reason, we say the sum of the other 2 sides is equal to the hypotenuse. Because when you add them together, it gives us what? 25. Now, this can also be expressed as this. If you are asked to what? To find the other sides of what? The angle. So these are the formula you will use. Now one, we say a square is equal to c square minus b square. That is, if you are asked to find a, you can write a square is equal to c square. C is the hypotenuse here, minus b. Because since the hypotenuse is the longest side and we want to obtain the other side, that means we subtract from the hypotenuse to get the other side. That is why we are saying the other adjacent we subtract from C to get the other one. The same thing applicable to B. So far we want to obtain the other side, we also subtract from the hypotenuse. But if you want to obtain hypotenuse is where you will want. Add the 2 adjacent to give you the hypotenuse side as is stated in the theorem above. So, having looked at this explanation and the proof of this, we can now take some example in regard to Pythagoras theorem. Okay, let's take this example in regard to what? The application of Pythagoras theorem. Question number 1, calculate the value of the hypotenuse. And look at the right angle, it's given here. This one is 6 centimeters, while the other side is what? 8 centimeters. And you are asked to calculate this. So we are going to apply Pythagoras theorem. The second one said we are going to calculate or find the value of x. And look at our x here. The hypotenuse size is given and one of the adjacent side is given. You are asked to find x. So solution to number 1. First of all, you try to bring out the formula. Now, this one is the hypotenuse side you are asked to calculate. And look at the angle, which is C. Then, by Pythagoras theorem, now we say c squared is equal to what? A squared plus b squared. Now let's try to identify what is our A. Our A is equal to what? 8 centimeters. Then what is our B? Our B is 6 centimeters. Now let's substitute the value in the formula. Now we have C squared is equal to, C is the one we want to find, isn't it? Now A squared, the value of A is 8, so it is 8 squared, plus B is 6, that means we have 6 squared. Remember, 8 raised to the power of 2 implies that it's 8 times 8, not 8 times 2. So that means 8 times 8 will give us what? 64. Plus 6 raised to the power of 2 is 6 times 6, and it will give us what? 36. Now we have our what? 64 plus 36 will give us 100. Remember that we have C squared here. But in this case, they ask us to find the value of what? C, not C squared. So what are we going to do? You look at the way in order to play this square. Then the only way you play this square is that since this one is square, we take the square root of both sides. So he said what? Take square root of both sides. Now therefore we have C squared, this is the sign for square root, equal to, remember, if you are taking the square root of any number, it can either be positive or what? Negative. So 100. Then what is the square root of 100? This square will cancel this. Remember that this side is the same as 1 all over 2. And if you have 1 all over 2 times 2, 2 will cancel to that, you have left with C, equal to. By square root, you can also solve this problem without what? Using calculator. Now we said a number will rise to the power 2 to give us its square root. Now if you want to solve this problem without using calculator, alternatively, you can also say since 100 is the same thing as 10 times 10. So that means 10 is the same thing as 10 raised to the power of 2. Therefore, the square root of 100 is equal to 10. But remember, it's either positive or negative. But since we are dealing with measurement, we use the what? The positive value. So we say the hypotenuse side is equal to 10 centimeters. Okay, number 2 says that to find the value of x given this angle. Look at the right angle here. Our y is 12 centimeters, while our z is what? 13 centimeters. And we discover that the hypotenuse is given with one of the adjacent. So now we are going to use the formula to find the value of what? X. Now it is x that we want to find. So we can also say, remember that you can use any letter. You can also say x squared is equal to the hypotenuse, which is z squared, minus y squared. Now, what is our z? Our z is 13 centimeters. And what is our y? Our y is what? 12 centimeters. Now let's substitute in the value. Let's substitute in the value here. Now we are going to have x squared is equal to z is 13 squared minus y is 12 squared. Now x squared is equal to 13 squared, meaning 13 times 13. And when you multiply 13 times 13, 3 times 3 will give us 9. So when you multiply this, you are going to have 169. Twice squared, meaning twice times twice. Don't say twice times 2, it's twice times twice. A number rise to power meaning you are multiplying that number up to the times it rises to. So we are multiplying twice up to 2 times. Twice times twice will give us 144. Now in this case we are going to have 169 minus 144. Thus 9 minus 4 will give us what? 5. 6 minus 4 will give us 2, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So if we have 0, 25 is the same thing as 25. Now remember they said we have to find the value of x, not x squared. So we are going to what? Take the square root of what? Both sides. So if we are taking the square root of both sides now, we say therefore our x squared in this is the square root sign equal to, remember from the law of indices, if you are taking the square root of any number, it can either be positive or negative. 25. Now from law of indices, this one is the same thing as 1 all over 2. So it implies you have 1 all over 2 here times 2. Then these 2 will cancel 2. And that means we have cleared away this square root sign with label x is equal to. Now, what is the square root of 25? As I earlier told you, you can also solve this without using calculator. Express 25. 25 can also be expressed as what? 5 times 5. And we said a number will rise to power 2 to give you its square root. So if we have how many 5 here? 2, 5. So it's just the same thing as we have what? 5 raised to the power of 2. And 5 raised to the power of 2 is 25. So since 5 raised to the power of 2 is 25, then 5 is the square root. So therefore, we say the square root of 25 is equal to 5, which is positive or negative. Then, since we are dealing with the positive value now, we can use what? Our x is equal to what? 5 centimeters. Don't always forget the unit of measuring. If it is millimeter, use millimeter. If it is meter, we use meter. So with this, we come to the end of our lesson for today. When next we come, we take more examples and problems under the applications of Pythagoras theorem. You can solve many exercises in your textbooks. When next we come for the class, I will give you assignment.